Hey, welcome to Camo Day for the 4th of April, 2019. Not a big news day today. I'm kind of going through the stacks of stuff and not a lot to talk about. So I thought I'd address a question that a lot of people ask me. And that question is, Dave, is that all you watch, Nomads, or do you watch other channels? Well, I do have a whole pile of other stuff that I typically watch, and this is what I watch, okay? And I want to do a shout out to Forrest Haggerty. Forrest does really good videos, okay? That he goes to Google Earth and he takes a look at all the, you know, the what do you call it, geography of what happens in all these interesting historical events. His latest video just posted yesterday regarding Adolf Hitler's bunker there in Berlin. Where was it? What is it now? It's, you know, it's what they call a car park. Over in Europe, it's car park. We call them parking lots. The German government did not want to memorialize in any way the bunker, so it's just been basically ignored. Where Hitler's body was burned is just a road. Very interesting stuff. You know, where the bunker was is just kind of where cars are parked today. Good video. And then you check out all this stuff. The Pearl Harbor attack and how it affected Honolulu and what direction the planes came in. And a whole bunch of stuff. The James Dean, when James Dean died, where did that happen, and where were the cars going? And he does like a recreation of the intersection and all that. The Leonard Skinner crash down here in the South, where exactly was that? Chernobyl meltdown, whole bunch of cool videos from Forrest Haggerty. So this is a non-nomadic channel that I do like to watch a lot. Fascinating stuff. He doesn't post frequently, but you know, the Charlie Manson murders. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff there from Forrest Haggerty. So if you're looking for a cool non-nomadic channel to watch and want to look at some history of how it happened, the geography, the you know, that kind of thing, I highly recommend Mr. Haggerty. I am also a big fan of aviation channels. I love to watch you know, plane channels. I like to watch the history of aviation, DJ's Aviation, air clips, a whole lot of stuff. There are a lot of flight channels where you can watch, you know, planes that, you know, they basically recreate what happened to them when they crashed. Airclips.com is good. A lot of historical channels. This is one of my favorites, the Flight Channel. Really good channel here where they basically use a flight simulator and basically recreate the entire, you know, a lot of the, it's not necessarily a crash, but it's an incident in which something happens, some recent stuff, other cool stuff. Anyway, a lot of cool stuff there. From the Flight Channel. I really enjoy this channel a lot, although I shouldn't watch it because now I'm occasionally taking plane flights and doing some more traveling, and if you do that, it's probably not a good idea to watch this channel. But yeah, some interesting stuff there from the Flight Channel, and there are a number of other similar type sites. There's a guy in the Philippines, I can't remember his name offhand now, who does some really cool flight simulation stuff too. But it's another channel that I really like to watch. Enter Pilot is another good channel. I think he's a Dutch guy, Dutch or German. Speaks English real well. Really kind of fancy apartment. He does it with his cat running around. But anyway, dog running around. Yeah, no, a dog. A cute little dog. He has a cute little dog with him on a lot of his videos. But he just, it's a talky channel. But he does some really nice stuff. He explains a lot of stuff about flying. Like, why is this? What are those funny noises you hear when the plane is getting ready to land? And etc. etc. Why do engines make the noises they do? Why are they designed the way they are? Really good stuff here. Explains it really well. He pilots a 737. He was doing a lot of videos recently on the whole 737 MCAS Max thing with all the controversy and what was happening with that, you know, that caused those planes to lose control and fly all over and crash. Good channel here, Mentor Pilot. Yeah, I still watch some Casey Neistat. You know, I'm not as enamored with him as I used to be, but I do like him still. I do occasionally watch him. I enjoy a lot of computer channels. Linus Tech Tips, I think he's from Canada, does some really good reviews of Windows and what's going on with computers and hardware. I think he also does a channel called Tech Quickie. It's another, he's the same guy, or at least he's got a clone. But there's a lot. Theo Joe I enjoy watching a lot. Really cool stuff from him. Yeah. I enjoy watching Russian videos where people that live in Russia, what day-to-day life is like in Russia. There's a bunch of those channels. One of my favorite is called Different Russia. It's just like, what's it like to shop at a Russian supermarket? And it's amazing how things aren't all that different in Russia. We tend to think of it as this very different country. It's different, but it's not that different. I think the one thing you realize about Russia that's big different is people basically live in like big apartment buildings. You don't find a lot of people living in single-family homes or townhouses like you find in America. People are all, big government housing blocks that they live in. But an interesting channel there, Different Russia. Tango66 is a guy that lives out in California, Southern California. He does a lot of television stuff where he likes to take he's like a TV repairman, likes to take old TVs apart. Sometimes he blows them up. He likes to restore old television sets. He'll find a junkyard and find an old set and get it working again, like a 1961 Zenith Space Command set. He loves old things, old radios, putting them together, taking them apart. Eventually, if an old TV, for example, is not repairable, he'll blow it up. Really cool stuff there. He got a good sense of humor. I enjoy him a lot. And so another channel that I really like, Shango066. To watch a lot of science channels. This one's good, SciShow. Just, the guy's real funny. They have good hosts on it. It's nice and quick, a quick update on what's going on. I really enjoyed Walter's World. There are a lot of travel channels that I like to watch. Just a kind of common sense, like, hey, if you go to Germany, what's different about it? Do you know Germany? If you go to Germany, it's like you have to almost always pay to use a restroom. If you go to Germany, can you talk about Hitler? Yes, but don't make jokes about Hitler. They don't like that. They don't like Americans will make Hitler jokes. Don't do that over there. If you're in Europe, don't wear a T-shirt that has words on it. That's not cool. He's got some cool stuff about what to do when you go to Europe. Walter's World, really, really good channel. And he talks about traveling around the United States. In fact, traveling around the entire world. Good stuff there from him. I also like Fred Flicks. Fred Flicks is this guy that likes to look at the classic television. Really good channel there. Just kind of like, the Brady Bunch and I Dream of Jeannie and cool stuff like that. The old Star Trek, The Invaders. He likes to talk about it, show some clips, how television was back in the 60s when he was growing up. We have kind of a lot of things in common. Really like Fred Flicks a lot. He doesn't talk much. It's basically just showing clips and words on the screen and stuff like that. He does some reminiscences of his childhood. Good stuff there from Fred Flicks. Another one of my favorites is BigClive.com. He's a Scottish guy, I believe. Big guy with a big beard. And he likes to take apart electronic equipment. Okay, he'll take a lot of that stuff you find in like the dollar store, chargers and junk like that, and whether they're really any good. Anyway, good stuff there. He likes to take apart a lot of electronic things and see if they have a shock value to them. Inside a window vac. He takes apart everything. Just loves to take things apart. He'll take batteries apart sometimes. Don't do that. They might blow up. A look inside a Duracell power bank. Very funny guy, and he does. I tend to like the beginnings of his videos because it's just kind of getting into it, and then he'll get into the electronics. About halfway through the videos, I usually bail because he starts talking about all the resistors and the this and the that and the whatever. And the amps and the volts, and I get to the point where, I think if you're like an electronic professional, you might want to watch the rest of the videos. Got about 500,000 subs. Great beard there too. I did do a channel on great beard channels, but anyway, BigClive.com is one of my favorites. Tom Scott is one of my favorites too. He's a British guy who talks a lot about techie stuff, kind of how they affect culture, you know, and a lot of weird stuff in just popular culture. Anyway, really good stuff there. I get to see and hold my brain. But he really gets a lot of views. I mean, you probably have heard of him if you've been on YouTube. Some really nice stuff. And yeah, like really crazy stuff. Like Britain's biggest battery was actually a lake. And how like undersea telephone cables started. And oh, just a whole bunch of interesting stuff. Really good stuff. From Tom Scott. It's hard to describe, but you know, once you start watching him, G-force jerk and passing out in a centrifuge, yeah, does everything. He's kind of a everything kind of guy, a Renaissance guy, always wears his red shirt, and he's got a lot of subs, and he makes a ton of money on YouTube, but I do enjoy watching him. Occasionally watch Ben Brown. He's a British dude who lives in South Africa. And he used to do some really cool videos. One of the cool things he did was a really cool Arctic voyage. Check it out here. You can find that. I think it was from 2 years ago. The Arctic Expedition. I highly recommend this. This was from, yeah, 2 years ago. He goes, Tom Scott's in the video, by the way, and a bunch of other cool people are in it, other YouTubers are in it, but it's a really, really good set of videos here from Tom Scott, or not from Tom Scott, with Ben Brown. Lately, his videos haven't been so good. I think he broke up with his girlfriend. He's had some health issues. I think his latest videos aren't that great. He does some exploration-y stuff in Africa. He used to go around with his girlfriend in his Pumbaa vehicle, called it Pumbaa, and he would, you know, and go around Africa, and they drive through all these Rwanda and all these little countries, and it was fascinating, and camp out. They didn't do any hunting; it was more like camping, but it was really cool, and yeah, cool stuff there. But check him out, Ben Brown, good stuff there. But check out this Arctic expedition; you'll enjoy it. I love to watch some of the car channels. Doug DeMuro's one of my favorites. I know he's getting kind of a little big for his britches. He used to be in Pennsylvania, I think Philadelphia based, and then he moved out to LA. And you know, his car reviews are kind of getting slicker and slicker and slicker. But he does some cool stuff. He likes to look at old beat up cars, but lately more likely it's something really super fancy and expensive. Good channel from him. Aging Wheels is good. This guy likes to look at older cars and you know, keeping them running and stuff like that, and restoring them sometimes, and some really weird cars. Sometimes, you know, Yugos and weird stuff like that they'll look at. But and that's another really, really good channel. Jeff Marshall I like. He's a British dude who is a super expert on the London Underground, which is their subway system. And he, you know, and again, if you're not a London commuter, you're still going to enjoy the channel because it's a whole bunch of just odd things about. They have a huge train system there, in a rail system there in England, and he and one of his friends, they went like from every station, all over the country, from station to station to station. Really good stuff from Jeff. If you look on his channel too, he did a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, he did a trip across the United States where he went to towns all across the United States that were named after British tube stations. That's their subway system. Fascinating guy. Yeah, really cool. Check him out. Jeff Marshall. 50s Transistor Radio is a guy up there, and I think he's in Binghamton, New York. But he just loves to look at old transistor radios. You know, these are stuff. If you're somebody who's as old as I am, you will remember some of these. Your dad had one of these, or whatever. Your granddad. He'll look at some old shortwave radios. Some of those old Japanese transistor radios. Weird radios from around the world, like Russia, and getting them running again and restoring them. Another really good channel. I'm a huge radio buff, and I like to watch a lot of channels where people go and climb radio towers, or or talk about, showing old radio stations, abandoned stations. There's a bunch of channels that do that. A lot of real techie channels. In Europe, for example, they're shutting down a lot of AM radio and going all to digital, and how they'll shut down the stations and people will have parties as they pull the plug, and goodbye, some Dutch oldie station on AM, and now it's all digital. Good stuff. I like a lot of radio stuff. Radio, TV, phono, not. This guy is in Mississippi. That's right. And he loves to repair really old record players and stuff. And he's got a wonderful voice.
This is Radio TV Phono Nut, and partially disassembled today. We have a Birch 78 RPM record player, probably from the late 30s or early 40s. If I had to make a wild guess, I can't find any date codes anywhere.
But anyway, yeah, it's kind of like a flashbacky channel. I mean, this is a new video. This was only a couple days ago. He kind of has, crappy equipment, video equipment. It's, 4x3. It's not widescreen. The microphone sounds kind of tinny, but he does some cool stuff. And occasionally he'll make some commentary. Sometimes he gets really mad. He'll find an old record player that was beat up and was in some sort of a thrift store, and then he'll get mad. Why didn't this person take care of that record player? They just abused it. Oh, this is terrible. He'll get all upset about stuff sometimes and, get into, kind of stuff like that. And he's really enjoyable. Check him out. Radio TV Phono Nut. Good channel is Real Life Lore. Again, a lot of stuff about interesting mysteries and crazy stuff like that. Technology connections. I believe this is a guy from Chicago who does some really, really interesting stuff about why certain things in technology are the way they are. Whatever happened to, certain, I don't know. It's just really cool stuff. I really enjoyed a lot. I do like to watch a lot of Americans and Brits that are over in the Philippines. Guy including Philippine Dreams. This guy, I think, is Boston. He's from the Massachusetts area. But he talks about what it's like to live in the Philippines, and there's a lot of crime there and a lot of crazy stuff going on there. He's got a beautiful Filipino wife, and talks about the brown outages. They have power problems and what it's like to live there, and dealing with he has feuds. Then these guys all have feuds with each other. There's about a dozen Americans that are living in the Philippines that do YouTube channels, and they all fight with each other, and some of them kind of, hang out. It's just funny. It's feuding. It's kind of like the bottom of YouTube, Philippine style, and they're all getting big battles with each other, and there's a whole bunch of other channels that do this, but I think he's probably the best. Philippine Dreams. And his name is Ned, by the way, and then there's another guy named Rike, and there's a guy named Peter Vandiver, who's back in the States now, but he does some really cool stuff too. But good channels there. We got a bunch of Americans that are in Thailand. They also do some cool stuff. But anyway, these are a lot of the other stuff that I watch. Yeah. So then this is just some of it. There's a lot of other stuff. Vsauce I like a lot. A lot of that stuff has moved over to that YouTube pay channel thingy-dingy. Simply Aviation's a good channel. Here's the guy. This is the guy from the Philippines that does really cool flight disaster simulations. Alec Joshua Ibe. Really good stuff from him. Camo Dave. Knowing Better. A lot of cool stuff, okay? So anyway, Sean, I do occasionally watch some Sean Rockenboxes. Some of the channels that I'm not watching a lot, I'll put over here on my other subscriber list. So anyway, these are some of the cool channels that I do like to watch. And, okay, if you want to watch some, I like also to watch some film review channels. Kermod and Mayo is a good one from Britain. They do some really good film reviews. A lot of good stuff there too. So anyway, Vox is a good channel. Defunctland is a very good channel. He looks at a lot of theme parks and amusement parks and how they went away, whatever happened to them, and now what are they doing? So really cool stuff there. I'm tired of saying really cool stuff, but anyway, so that's a quick review of what Dave likes to watch when he's not watching Nomads. And yeah.